The real NFL lockout has left many a rookie's head spinning as they try to memorize a mammoth playbook in a fraction of the typical time. Madden NFL 12 has suffered no such hardships. A seasoned veteran that was scheduled for release whether the NFL season happened or not, it has no excuses for a poor showing. Refinement has carried the day for the last couple of outings, but how long can a game keep chasing its tail? With no new modes to speak of, this year's game needs a ton of tweaks to the options to make an impact. But the majority of the changes will only be felt by those who have really dug into Madden in the past. The franchise option continues to be the main act, and at this point there's very little left to be done, and it's reflected in the results. EA has made most of the alterations from the fan feedback, so while hardcore Maddenites will appreciate the ability to scout rookies during the season or bid on free agents, the changes are fairly minuscule. The same goes for the Superstar mode, where the only adjustments are a new progression system where you earn points for everything you do that can then be applied to your player and new in-game coach audio that repeats itself far too often.
Take a 5-step drop and look for your tight end on the curl route. Don't try to do too much, just fire a strike and let him make the play.
One really cool but overlooked feature from last year's outing is Madden Ultimate Team. Here you start with a pack of random player cards to form a team. As you win games, using this potpourri of NFL talent, you're rewarded with coins that you can use to buy new players, coaches, stadiums, and more. It's a lot like putting together a fantasy football team, but earning new cards takes a bit too long for our liking. Of course, you can pay real money for the cards, which makes the mode feel like it was designed to generate revenue rather than be enjoyable. At least you can trade the cards this season. Custom playbooks have finally made their way into the game, and they function quite well, allowing you to patch together a plan from around 400 existing plays. This helps make the return of last year's controversial game flow play calling system just a little more understandable and functional. You also still have the option of calling plays manually if you wish. Online, you still have the ability to play a franchise, go head-to-head, join tournaments, or play cooperatively with 3 humans per side. The new Communities feature allows you to group up with other like-minded players to maximize your time. Madden Moments return, allowing you to try and recreate some of the most compelling scenarios from the real NFL season. Madden NFL 12 claims to have well over 100 changes to its design, but having played the game every year since its inception, they're nice additions but hardly game changers. One thing worth noting is that the on-disc rosters were locked before any free agent moves were made. So if you do not have an internet connection, be prepared to spend a lot of time getting all the players on their new teams. If you buy the game used, you're going to have to pay for the online pass to get updated rosters or do it yourself. There's a lot to see and do, but that's been the case for the past several outings. The gameplay was pretty much nailed in last year's game, so it comes as little surprise that not much has changed. Like every year, computer AI has received a lot of attention, but defensive players still ignore receivers who come into their zone coverage. Despite EA's attempt to eliminate it, the infuriating suction blocking returns once again to thwart sure sacks. Even more puzzling is the glut of glitches that we've come across. Some are moderate, like warp catches, but others, like disappearing players, are completely unacceptable. For a game that's been honed for years now, it's absolutely baffling. The running game remains a bright spot, however. With even more ways to wiggle for a few extra yards without having to rely on the juke or spin buttons, it comes excitingly close to reality. Another noticeable change is that the tackles and collisions are absolutely brutal. Apparently, Madden NFL 12 didn't get Commissioner Goodell's memo that the sport is trying to tame its image. There are more head blows in a 10-minute half than in an entire UFC pay-per-view. The amped-up hitting will absolutely delight guardians of the old-school smash-mouth football. Dynamic player performance is another new feature. It essentially affects a player's abilities based on in-game results. Have a couple bad games and players go on a cold streak that you'll need to pull them out of. We like this concept in theory, but sometimes it goes a little too far. When James Harrison is no longer considered a hard hitter, for any reason, there's a problem. Kicking is almost considered an afterthought in football games, but it's gone back to the old golf game style kick meter here, which takes most of the challenge out of it. We loved the analog stick kicking of old because it allowed for a margin of error, but after a few games you'll be able to boot perfect kicks every time. The new camera angle for kicks also makes it difficult to tell if the ball splits the uprights.
The kick is no good!
Despite the bugs and quirks, Madden NFL 12 still manages to play a convincing game of pigskin. Your tolerance for the gaffes will be directly proportional to how much you have on the line in each game. It doesn't always function realistically, but we like the idea behind dynamic player performance. presentation was the greatest area of focus for Madden NFL 12, and the graphics have definitely received a noticeable bump. The grass looks more realistic, the player models are more detailed, and as mentioned previously, the hits are more bone-jarring than ever. The game has also employed the same camera angles that NFL Films uses to tell a more convincing pregame story, and overall the presentation is much closer to what you get on Sunday afternoons. On the Xbox 360, it's definitely the best-looking Madden yet, but on the PlayStation 3, it's a different story. Players look aliased and the field textures appear muddy, but not in the right way. The commentary is absolutely abysmal. We're big fans of Gus Johnson, but it's almost like there are two different guys doing the play-by-play at times.
Haloti Ngata was there to bring him down.
Chris Collinsworth's drawn-out diatribes take far too long to complete, resulting in the whole proceedings lagging several plays behind at times. Turn it off.
Now, Sean Phillips is a bit of a late bloomer, but it really did bloom.
With all of the uncertainty surrounding the real NFL season this year, we were ecstatic to be playing the new Madden, but the honeymoon hasn't lasted long. With no groundbreaking new features and more bugs than usual, Madden NFL 12's slight blip on the graphics radar and design tweaks aren't enough to keep it from being one of the most difficult to recommend in recent history. When you start building a game on such an impressive foundation, you're guaranteed to have a quality product in the end. But the longer you play it, the more the issues become bothersome. Just like the NFL rookie class of 2011, it should have spent a little more time in training camp.